It was fun catching up with former Boise State running back and now Seattle Seahawk George Holani. We did that last hour. You'll be able to find that wherever you find anything that has to do with KTIK Sports Radio, the ticket, the app, the website, and go back and catch George. Wasn't our best interview, but George was a million other places as he should be, and you could just hear a pretty wild and crazy locker room they had going on in Seattle there. But good to catch up. Even as soft as he is, it's good to hear from George.
It's always great to hear from George. And my favorite part of that interview was just a normal dude who goes to a football game, plays pretty well, gets invited to the Super Bowl, and goes home and watches crappy TV with his wife.
Yep,
and he's so embarrassed by the TV show that they watched, he wouldn't even talk about it.
He couldn't even tell
I think it was like The Secret Wives of L.A. or, how to, I don't even want to guess. He wouldn't tell us. He was watching TV with his wife.
There's got to be some Idaho Sports Talk guilty pleasure television show segments in the past, right? You guys have done that before.
No, because we don't have Mr. TV over here. Prater's not going to go binge his show.
Find himself watching something that he can't believe he's watching every now and then.
I would love to hear what it is.
Well,
maybe sometimes.
I've told you before that one of my secrets.
Oh yeah,
it's Sex in the City.
Sex in the City. That's the show.
But it's chick time. It's chick time. And anytime if you have to put in some chick time. Sex in the City is spectacular, very well written and funny. And
I agree. I've watched Sex in the City probably 2 different times with 2 different women who wanted me to watch the whole series with them, and I did because it's actually very well written and
I can quote a lot of it.
It's kind of hot.
Well, are there going to be any football fans with some guilty pleasures watching Pac-12 football next season?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I think football fans are going to like the new.
Going to be a good product.
I think that's a good segue there, Greg. Pac-12 meetings are going on at Pac-12 headquarters, and this pertains to Boise State because July 1st, this is Boise State's league, and the Pac-12, will it be cutting edge? Will it not? Prater, very interesting things. I want to hear what's going on at these meetings. You've done some really good research on them, and then we want to hear from Bronco Nation to see what they would want if it is option A or option B with this new league.
3 days of intense meetings started this morning. They'll go all the way until Friday afternoon. Jeremiah Dickey's down there. Boise State's president's down there. These are athletic director meetings, and these are president meetings. And they're going to decide a lot of different things, including stuff like jersey patches, which are now illegal based on NCAA news last week. They have 3 different places they can put jersey patches now. So they're going to talk about silly little things like that. Well, it's not silly because that's revenue, and that's Jeremiah Dickey's number one mission. But the most important thing here, guys, is the football schedule. The football schedule starts the football season starts like in 29 weekends. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's going to go so stinking fast.
29 Saturdays.
29 Saturdays, baby. And it's going to go by fast. And Boise State, like even USC's still looking for a game on its schedule this year. Are you kidding me?
USC's got an opening.
USC has an opening. A lot of other schools have openings. Every single member of the Pac-12, all 8 of them, have openings right now. But right now, that's by design. And these presidents and these athletic directors, and this is where you guys come into play because I want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. They're going to debate today and tomorrow and Friday 2 different options for the football schedule. It's either going to be a home-and-home series like Oregon State and Washington State did last year. Twice in November last year, those 2 teams played. Once in Corvallis, once in Pullman. So that option is clearly on the table. And the other option is a flex scheduling. Leave the 11th week of the season or leave the 12th week of the season open and leave it as flexible as possible and do everything that you possibly can because priority number 1 is to get into the CFP bracket, to put your name on one of those 12 lines. That's everything that they're doing down there at these Pac-12 meetings to try to get onto that CFP bracket. So let's say there's 4 teams that are at the top of the standings next year at the end of the season. 1 could play 4 and 2 could play 3, and the winner's playing a conference championship game. But if you want to beef up your strength of schedule numbers because they're kind of on the line, and by then you'll be able to tell, maybe you want to play the number 3 ranked team instead of the number 4 ranked team. At least have that flexibility. Or let's say if a Boise State is so far ahead of everybody else in the group of 5 race, and now we know the rule that you don't even have to be a conference champion, maybe what they do is they say, Boise State, you're going to play number 8. We're going to give you the easiest path to the CFP and just get in there and take care of business. I think flexibility is as important as possible. It comes down to 2 things, guys. Do you like the idea of the flexibility, even though you won't know the game, the site, or the time for probably 10 days to 2 weeks? And that happens a lot now. Or do you like the comfort and the satisfaction of knowing that every game is on the schedule, and everyone's opponents is decided, and all the times are decided. It's difficult for fans, but it might be more interesting for fans as well.
I got to say, if I was a fan, I would prioritize the access and the CFP as my number one thing, because the reality is the comfort of knowing who you're playing, when you're playing. Like, is there such a thing as comfort in college football these days?
Well, when you have a family, yes.
I understand the attend the game and go with your family and, you know, the game day atmosphere and experience part of this. But you're also rooting for the program. You're rooting for the team to be successful. And the way that they're most successful is by achieving the best access they can achieve to get to the CFP. So I think that if you just locked in, like the idea of, well, we're going to tell you right now what Pac-12 team you're playing twice, I think that's limiting the ceiling of the league, if we're being honest.
I agree. I know who doesn't agree.
208-424-9300. Jeremiah Dickey?
No.
Spencer Danielson?
No. Yeah, well, Spencer Danielson and 7 other football coaches are very much going to be opposed to that idea. Very much. Now, publicly they say one game at a time, and we'll just take the schedule as it comes, and we'll play the hand that's dealt, blah, 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 blah. But there's no way Spencer Danielson wants to be playing a game on the 2nd or the 3rd week in November, and he doesn't know what's going to be on the schedule the 3rd or the 4th week in November. That just doesn't fly with coaches. That doesn't fly with some fans. I understand the complications. I love the flex option. I think the flex option is something different. If the new Pac-12, which is already being publicly ridiculed, it's a PR disaster already, guys. Let's not fool ourselves. The new Pac-12 is a PR disaster. If they come out and say, oh, we're going to be the only conference in America that's going to play everybody twice because we couldn't figure out how to figure out another game or another opponent. And so Boise State, you're playing Utah State twice. San Diego State, Fresno, you're playing twice. Colorado State, Texas State, twice. Oregon State, Washington State, twice.
Every year you'll have a home in season with somebody?
This is a 2026 conversation only.
Okay.
Everything will start over again next year as they try to figure this out. So this is for 2026 only. Now, the problem within that, does the first game count? Do both games count in the league standings? Do only one game count in the league standings? How does that work? So they have to kind of figure that stuff out as well. There's some complications there, but I think the flex thing will create some buzz. I think the writers across this country will talk about it. People will say, look, Boise State's playing that team, and it's a flex schedule. Yeah, when the NFL puts out its flex schedule, people get excited because it's something new and different, and you have to deal with it. I think the flex schedule is the best schedule. I think it's fantastic. I don't think the Pac-12 athletic directors and presidents have the guts to do it. I think we're going to get stuck with the boring, lazy PR disaster, home and home.
That would really be a Debbie Downer, because I think that in this era that everything's changing, right? Why not be a bit of a trendsetter here if you're the Pac-12? Why not do something that other leagues might say, hey, that's kind of cool?
That's what that's what Jeremiah Dickey's been saying for 3 weeks. Because he's been saying all the right thing. But I'm afraid that once they get into these meetings and there's some pushback and there's some compromise, and these guys don't like to go out and get weird. They don't like to get weird, man. I mean, Johnny the Ballgame and I, when we go downtown, we like to get weird. When you put 8 presidents and 8 athletic directors in a Pac-12 headquarters in California, they don't like to get weird.
What do the fans want on this? 208-424-9300. It's the Taco Bell hotline, and your chance. We'll give you the next 15, 20 minutes. Give us a call. Let's spend some time on this thing, because I love the fact that if the league gets out forward and says, number one, we want CFP access. We want the Pac-12 making that tournament as the G6 bid. And we want it so much, we're willing to manipulate our regular season schedule to make sure our one team has a resume that's better than the other 5 G6 leagues. We'll manipulate it. Yeah, well, it's not cheating. No, we have an extra game. So if Boise State, for whatever reason, they're 9-2, and they're going into the last game of the season, and okay, they're going to have them play, let's say what would be the worst team in the league. They're going to schedule them against Utah State again, and Utah State at the time, Boise State's 9-2, Utah State's 3-8, and you're like, well, why are you giving Boise State the worst team in the league? Because Boise State at this point, there's no other team in the Pac-12 that's going to expand its resume to the point where, now it's going to make a difference. They just need a win.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and make sure Boise State not only wins, but maybe wins like 72-0, 65-0, whatever the score may be, a total blowout, because that's going to give our champion or whoever, champion, our best team, the best chance to get into the CFP. This would be a national story, guys. Some people would call it Mickey Mouse. You're
Right.
moving the goalposts.
Yes. And
You're customizing your league. But you know what? Why are you going to yell at the Pac-12 for doing something? Look at every other school in college football customizing their own world too. Like everybody else is doing this stuff. Like
I don't think the flex schedule would be construed as Mickey Mouse. As a matter of fact, the Big Ten wanted to do it. And the Big Ten tried to do it, and the Big Ten pushed and pushed and pushed to do it. That's the commissioner's plan right now, and that's part of this whole CFP nonsense between the Big Ten and the SEC, because the Big Ten wanted to save its last 2 weeks of the season for a flex scheduling deal, but it wanted to have the 4 automatics. It wanted to take those 4 games and say, I need to have the 4 automatics before I can do that, and nobody's willing to give the Big Ten the 4 automatics. So that's kind of where that stopped. I think the flex scheduling thing, especially since the NFL does it, I don't think anybody would mock it. I think that they would mock the home and home like crazy.
Well, the NFL flexes times. They don't just leave an open date.
Well, I understand that. Yeah. And that's one of the options on the schedule this week as well. The new Pac-12 can actually do that. They can go out and say, we're going to schedule these 8 games, but on November 15th, we reserve the right to change it.
The one thing I don't like about the flex, and I'm pretty pro flex here, is what Ballgame's talking about. Like, if you flex it to just say, here's a cupcake, number 1, and you get to win 72-10, I almost feel like that's anti-competition. I like the flex when you're saying, no, we're going to beef up your strength of schedule. You're going to play number 3 on November 15th, and then we're going to play the league championship game 1 versus 2. That way, if number 1 wins, then you've elevated their strength of schedule enough.
Yeah.
And, you look at a league like the American this past season, and I realize that not every G6 league might have the depth that the American had this year. And to some extent, maybe, they cannibalized each other. But the American had so much depth that even without a flex model, they had interesting games, in some cases ranked versus ranked teams, just because there were 5 or 6 decent teams in the American this year. So if I'm the Pac-12 and I can manufacture that a little bit, that's where I'm interested.
To boost the schedule.
But make it so that your champion plays the hardest schedule as well.
What do you guys think? 208-424-9300. Or do you want the option? Maybe in Greg's case, there are times where, hey, their resume isn't good enough. Let's go ahead and flex the next best team or the third best team in the league in to Boise State's schedule so they can play them again, get a bigger bump, and then wherever the Pac-12 championship is, that's when they get the number 2 team, and all of a sudden they're playing good teams. But all I'm saying is that there is the case where if Boise State doesn't need any more bumpage on its schedule, and you don't, and you know that if Boise State loses, the whole league doesn't get a bid. The whole league has 1 team maybe that might get the bid. No one else will. So if any other team wins this league, you're not going to the CFP. This would give you some flexibility for the Pac-12 to really say, as unfair as it might be, and as Greg says, lack of competition, all that stuff, it will give you your best chance of making that tournament. And it feels to me like that's all the Pac-12 is caring about here. They want to get in this tournament. It's kind of the only way I think they can solidify themselves as actually being the Pac-12, playing in big games and setting itself apart from the other G6, especially the Mountain West.
Go ahead.
I just think it would feel a little bit like that 1 week in November when Alabama plays Eastern Illinois or whatever, and it's just like, oh, well, what Pac-12 fans getting excited about that?
I don't know. 208-424-9300.
But again, in my opinion, you got to keep all flexible options open, every option, including the 1 versus 8. And you know what? If they do it and people laugh, college football is a joke anyway. And
It is. Not wrong.
The SEC playing Norfolk State 18 times on Saturday, the third Saturday in November, is a joke anyway. But they do it, and it benefits their league. And they move on to the next Saturday and nobody cares anymore. So you can't worry about the PR factor. The PR factor of college football is dead. We're numb to it. It's ridiculous. It's a circus clown show right now, and you've got to join the circus clown show, and you've got to do everything you possibly can to protect you and your millions and millions of dollars. So if it means scheduling a patsy like the 8th place team just to get yourself into the tournament, I am 100% all for it. I'm 100% all for it.
I wonder how often that would be the case. It feels like more often it would be the case where they want to put power against power.
100%.
More cases, that's what it'll be.
But you want those, you want that
great.
flexibility.
Yeah, but you also have the flexibility. And like, I think of all the conversations you can have around Pac-12 football with something like this, where a league that you're probably not going to be spiking about all that much, all that often, unless you're in a Pac-12 market like we are or something. Like, that league is going to have a hard time finding itself, raising its hand, saying, hey, we're the Pac-12. We're back over here. Everyone's going to say, no, you're not.
I don't agree with that.
What?
I don't agree with that.
Agree with what?
I think the Pac-12 is going to be just fine in terms of football and its presence. Don't you?
It's a G6 league.
It's a G6
Oh,
league.
you're talking about compared to this. All they have to do is be better than the American.
Oh, the other G6. Yeah, I thought, the Pac-12 saying, hey, we're back. The Pac-12, talking the Power 4 conferences. No, you're not.
No, they don't.
You know,
they don't.
You're not.
They don't.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, because it really is just the American, right? I mean, nobody's taking the Sun Belt or CUSA, all that.
No.
They really don't,
And
man.
the SEC doesn't care about the Pac. Nobody cares. They're not going to. Just do what's best for you, man. Take care of your own family and do what's best for you. And right now, that's flexibility and options in November. There's no reason why they can't. By the way, they'll also decide the site for a conference championship game, probably the number 1 seed. And I don't expect any news to come out from these meetings. So if you're sitting here on Friday afternoon waiting for the news dump, I don't think it's going to happen, because anything they decide over these next 3 days, they have to take it back to campus and vet that for a couple of weeks. We probably won't get any kind of scheduling news for a couple of weeks, maybe even into early March.
Who's in these meetings? Is it just athletic directors
and presidents?
And president. Okay, so no coaches.
Correct.
Athletic directors and presidents. Guys,
but athletic directors have carried the message of their coach.
Sure.
Anybody have a better idea? 208-424-9300, or we want to add to this at all? Like, what are you thinking? What would you want as a Boise State fan for your conference to do? Everything's on the table. It's college football. There are no rules, man. Get creative over here. Prater on the ball game. KTIK the ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studio, this